What if everything we believe about marriage is built on a fragile illusion? What if the way we date, swipe, desire, and connect today is actually pulling us further from intimacy, not closer? Carl Jung, one of the most profound thinkers of the 20th century, didn't live in a world of dating apps or social media, but his insights into human nature, love, and the psyche are more relevant now than ever. Jung understood something we're only beginning to realize: the more we chase love on the surface, the more we neglect what's happening inside. And when that inner world is ignored, love becomes distorted, shallow, even destructive. In this video, we'll explore why modern love feels so broken and how Jung's ideas might just help us rebuild it. In today's fast-moving world, love has become more accessible, yet somehow more elusive. We can meet people in seconds, match with strangers across the globe, and begin relationships without ever leaving our homes. Love, or what we believe to be love, seems to be everywhere, and yet, more people than ever feel unfulfilled, disillusioned, and emotionally isolated. What we call love often lacks depth, stability, and meaning. Instead, it's replaced by fleeting validation, romantic idealism, or sexual chemistry mistaken for real connection. Carl Jung understood that love, when reduced to surface-level attraction or unconscious emotional need, becomes distorted. He didn't see love as a solution to loneliness or a fantasy of completeness. Instead, he saw it as a powerful mirror, one that reflects our innermost wounds, desires, and unresolved inner conflicts. In this mirror, we don't just see the other person. We see ourselves, our hopes, our projections, our hidden longings. When we fall in love without depth, we often fall in love with an illusion, not the person themselves, but the image we've crafted of them, shaped by what we lack or what we yearn for. Jung called this phenomenon the projection of the anima, and amazed the unconscious feminine and masculine archetypes within us. These archetypes color how we perceive others, especially in romantic relationships. A man might project his inner feminine and his anima onto a woman, idealizing her as nurturing, healing, or emotionally perfect. A woman might project her animus, the inner masculine, onto a man, imagining him as powerful, protective, or wise. These projections feel intense, intoxicating, even magical, but they are not real. They are fragments of ourselves, cast onto another human being. When this illusion inevitably fades, when the real person emerges, with their flaws, contradictions, and boundaries, we often feel betrayed. We say, "You've changed," or "You're not who I thought you were." But what really changed was our perception. We didn't truly see the other person. We saw a mirror of our own psyche. This is the tragedy of love without depth. It begins with fantasy and ends with disillusionment. To love with depth means to love consciously. It means recognizing our projections, owning our wounds, and seeking to understand the other not as a savior or symbol, but as a sovereign individual. This kind of love doesn't rush to possess or idealize. It slows down, it listens, it accepts. And it grows not in the rush of infatuation, but in the quiet commitment to truth. In a world driven by appearances, we are constantly performing, especially in love. From dating profiles to curated texts, we present carefully shaped versions of ourselves, hoping to attract, impress, and ultimately be chosen. Carl Jung called this mask the persona, the social identity we wear to navigate the world. It's not inherently bad. In fact, it serves an important role in society. But when the persona becomes our only self in romantic relationships, something crucial gets lost: authenticity. Modern love often begins not with truth, but with seduction. We show our most confident, desirable, put-together sides. We hide our fears, our wounds, our uncertainties. The first date becomes a stage. The relationship becomes a script. We become actors, and love becomes a performance. But beneath this performance, a silent anxiety grows. If they really knew me, would they still love me? Jung understood this dynamic well. He warned that the persona, while socially useful, can be spiritual deadening if it disconnects us from our true self. And in love, it often does. We fall in love through the mask with the version of someone that fits our fantasy. But real intimacy demands that the mask eventually come off. The problem is, by the time it does, many couples have already built a fragile connection based on image, not essence, when the act ends. Confusion sets in, disappointment follows, and so does the collapse. In the age of social media, this problem is amplified. We are rewarded for presenting perfect versions of ourselves filtered, rehearsed, controlled. Vulnerability, by contrast, is often mistaken for weakness. Emotional honesty feels risky. And so, even within committed relationships, the persona lingers. We keep parts of ourselves hidden. We avoid uncomfortable truths. We seek admiration, but not understanding. But Jung teaches us that love without authenticity is hollow. To truly love and be loved, we must risk being seen fully. Without armor, this requires courage. It requires us to acknowledge the parts of ourselves we fear are unlovable. And it asks us to see others not just through the lens of desire, but through the eyes of compassion. To accept their flaws, their complexities, their humanness. When two people relate through their person as, the relationship remains shallow. But when they dare to show up as they are broken, healing on as something deeper begins to unfold. Intimacy grows, trust deepens. Love, once a performance, becomes a process of discovery. Beneath every relationship, beneath every attraction and conflict, there lies a deeper layer, one we rarely acknowledge and fear to face. Carl Jung called it the shadow. It is the part of ourselves we repress, deny or disown. The parts we've learned are unacceptable, our jealousy, our rage, our neediness, our control. And yet, the shadow never disappears. It lives in the unconscious, silently shaping how we love, fight, leave, and return. In love, the shadow is always present. It reveals itself not in how we feel when things are going well, but in how we react when they're not. It's the voice that says, push them away before they hurt you. It's the impulse that clings too tightly, or withdraws too fast. It's the pain we carry from childhood, projected onto our partner as blame or expectation. Jung warned that unless we face the shadow, it will control our lives from behind the scenes, and we will call it fate. Many of us repeat the same painful patterns in love without knowing why. We're drawn to unavailable partners. We sabotage intimacy just as it begins to feel safe. We chase people who hurt us or numb ourselves to those who truly care. These cycles are not accidents. They are signs of our unconscious at work reenacting unresolved emotions, seeking healing in familiar pain. The partner we choose is often a mirror, reflecting not only our hopes, but also our hidden wounds. When we're unconscious of our shadow, we project it. We see in our partner what we've disowned in ourselves. A man ashamed of his vulnerability make all his partner too emotional. A woman who suppresses her anger may explode when her needs are unmet. We confuse our inner turmoil with the behavior of the other. And so love becomes a battlefield, not of two people, but of two shadows in conflict. But there is another way. Jung believed that real love could be a path of awakening. Not because it's easy, but because it reveals the truth of who we are. Our relationships become sacred when they help us see ourselves more clearly, when they challenge us to grow beyond our defense mechanisms, and when they inspire us to meet the shadow not with fear, but with compassion. To love consciously is to take responsibility for our inner world. It is to ask, what part of me is showing up right now, the wounded child, the fearful avoider, the controlling protector? It is to see our reactions as teachers, not truths. and it is to honor our partner not as a savior or enemy, but as a fellow traveler, someone who, like us, is navigating their own shadows. Love, in its truest form, is not the merging of two halves searching for completion, but the union of two whole beings walking a path side by side. Carl Jung's concept of individuation stands at the heart of this idea, the process by which a person becomes their most authentic, integrated self. It is not about becoming someone new, but about reclaiming who you've always been beneath the layers of conditioning, wounds, roles, and masks. And when it comes to love, individuation is not a luxury, it's essential. In many relationships, people seek to be completed by their partner. They carry an unspoken hope that love will fix what's broken inside, that someone else's presence will fill the void, calm the chaos, and quiet the old fears. But Jung reminds us that no relationship can save you from yourself. When we enter love from a place of incompleteness, we bring with us the weight of our unmet needs and unhealed wounds. The relationship becomes burdened by silent expectations, a need to be rescued, validated, or kept emotionally afloat. Individuation is the antidote to this cycle. It is the courageous, ongoing process of facing your shadow, confronting your patterns, integrating your inner masculine and feminine, and peeling back the persona to discover your essence. It means taking ownership of your fears, your projections, your past. It asks you to stop blaming others for your suffering and to begin asking deeper questions. Why do I react this way? What am I afraid of in love? What do I keep avoiding in myself? As you begin to individuate, love begins to shift. You stop choosing partners to complete you and start choosing those who reflect your values, growth, and inner clarity. The desperate need for validation begins to fade because you've learned how to witness and soothe your own emotions. You no longer confuse intensity with intimacy, chaos with chemistry, or control with commitment. You begin to see love as a practice not of merging, but of mirroring. A conscious relationship becomes a sacred container for growth, reflection, and shared becoming. We stand at a turning point. Never before has love been so widely talked about, so publicly displayed, yet so deeply misunderstood. We confuse freedom with detachment, passion with possession, and connection with constant access. But as Carl Jung reminds us, the real journey of love begins not with finding the right person, but with becoming the right self. The search for meaning in modern relationships is not about adding more dates, more apps, more strategies, but about subtracting everything that is not real. It is about peeling away the persona, confronting the shadow, healing the wounds, and allowing the authentic self to emerge. The future of love is not faster. It is slower. It is not louder. It is quieter. It is not broader. It is deeper. It is found in the spaces between words, in the pauses of presence, in the silent knowing that you are seen not for your performance, but for your truth. Carl Jung may not have used a dating app, but his wisdom can guide us to love that is real, love that stretches, that heals, that reveals, not because it's perfect, but because it's honest. Thank you for watching Depth Journal. If this video resonated with you, share it, comment your thoughts, and remember, the future of love is not out there, it's within you.